Is anybody there?
I think we're all here.
I'm here. 7
Okay.
o'clock Central on Tuesday. Where else would I be?
I think you got the right place.
This is it.
Now we just need everything to cooperate this week.
I've got a good feeling, man. I've got a really good feeling.
We upgraded the staff.
We did. That's exactly where I was going.
Welcome, Miss Tovar.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here. I'm a fan of the
Alright.
show.
First time caller?
First time caller. I feel like I'm calling the radio station, where it would take forever to get in and you felt special because the DJs finally talked to you. That type of feeling.
Man, it is an honor to have you on, Karina. You are obviously a longtime VSG member and, may I say, friend of the family. So it's really exciting to have you join us today. Certainly appreciate
All the way back
on.
to virus-free virtual clinic.
Yes, Karina's been around forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
So excited to have her with us. Really looking forward to her insight on these plays.
DY, you have something you want to share with the world that's already.
What's going on, man? Anything new?
So I call, this guy Brandon. So we've been knowing Brandon for quite some time. Let's just put it like that.
That's true.
Not the most humble dude in the world.
Wow.
Probably needs to have his ego checked a little bit. And then all of a sudden this morning, I tried to call him just to chat it up a little bit about stuff. I couldn't even get through to him. The dude sent me the voicemail immediately. Voicemail.
It didn't even ring once.
It never rang once. Straight to voicemail.
No.
I'm like, what is going on?
I had to set up a filter for you.
I mean, I do that to you also, but I think it's a different coming from
Well, you let you go 2 rings and then you send me the voicemail.
Right.
Brandon didn't even.
You're a one ringer now.
Right. No, man, in all seriousness, really, really cool, really happy, really excited to watch Brandon work in the NFL. It is a tremendous, I don't want to say accomplishment, because really an accomplishment, we don't control getting hired in the NFL. But obviously we control how well we officiate. We control how well we interact with others off the field, how well we lead different study groups. Obviously, this is one of the, might I call this the premier study group in the universe?
You might.
So, those are all a testament to some of the things, Brandon, that you've done. And obviously, the NFL has recognized that. And it is truly an honor for me to publicly say, congratulations. Really excited to watch you work football in the National Football League. So congrats, man.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And the other thing you can control is how hard you work. And so a rare moment of sincerity relative to how we interact with each other. In all of my years of officiating, we spent a lot of years together. Nobody works harder or attacks this with more passion than Brandon. So, man, you deserve positive things. And this is just another one. So we're all excited for you. Sincerely, man. So congratulations.
Well, somebody pass the tissue and let's start play one. Let's go.
Yeah. And so the other part of the congratulations was, let's see how uncomfortable we can make you. And now let's talk football.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, enough of that. No, thank you, by the way.
Yeah,
but I would like to at least make it to 2 rings before you send me the voicemail.
We'll see.
We'll see how tonight goes.
It's kind of a hectic day, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
So you want to run the plays?
No, how about you talk about how do we even get to this point? Why we have Miss Karina Tovar on? And yeah.
So the production room department of Pure Officiating is a busy place, right? Pretty hectic. A lot of sourcing and lead generating. I don't know what I'm trying to say. No. You know what we did? We turned on the Florida State game and saw, that's an interesting play. 2 plays. That's an interesting. Oh my gosh. And the game was nuts. And then sure enough, here is the field judge, Karina Tovar, working. And so we thought this would be an awesome opportunity to interact with somebody who was in the middle of I mean, I think Florida State is one of the top rivalry games in the history. Just historically in college football, that's not out of line, is it?
Wide right. Anybody knows about wide right?
Yeah. I mean, they play on Thanksgiving Day weekend every year, I believe. Usually was that game on Friday or
Wait
Saturday?
a minute, time out. I might be embarrassing myself. Hold on, let me stop. Wide right is Florida
That was
State,
Miami, Florida State.
All right.
We drove by that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want people to just like be really looking at me sideways. Florida State, Miami is wide right. Florida State is it is a different type of rivalry, but yes, another great rivalry.
So that was Thanksgiving Day weekend, Karina? Is that right?
I think it was the weekend after. It was all a blur, to be honest.
Yeah. And is it also correct that this was your first year in the ACC?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
So I was pretty nervous.
Wow. Wow.
Welcome.
And so the game was played in Gainesville, so that the crew was on the road, so to speak, because obviously Florida's in the SEC, Florida State is in the ACC. I believe I have that correct.
Yes.
So very often in these games, the visiting conference supplies the officials, which was the case here. Have you recovered mentally from this game yet? I'm seriously, I haven't. Just watching it.
I thought I did, and then I re-looked at these plays, and I thought, no, like I'm still there.
So here's what I think we're gonna do. I think you might get a little uncomfortable tonight. That's not our goal, but I think just some of the nature of these plays, just by perhaps you reliving them, might be uncomfortable. We're going to ask questions. You can be as honest or as politically incorrect or correct as you want to be, but I'm excited. We're not going to grill you. That's not the point, but we're really like what you were thinking, right, on some of these plays. Folks, stick around for the last play, and I'm not kidding, and the second to last play. So here we go. Are we ready to roll play one?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
and we're actually going to start late in the fourth quarter. And so I'm sure everybody's familiar with the term onside kick, but have you ever seen onside whiff? So we'll look at this.
Here we go.
I'm not going to touch it no more, DY. That was me.
Out of the gate, choppy?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, so this is late in the fourth quarter, so we're starting in reverse chronological order or whatever. Kicker's obviously trying to just kind of touch the ball and do that whole, thing where he kind of just dribbles it out there and recovers it right at 10, right? Don't you think that's the intent? I don't know. I mean, did he touch it? Did he not? What causes the ball to go off the tee? Is that his
holy crap
the wind from his foot? This is crazy. So, Karina, first of all, do you remember kind of how the crew processed this? And then we'll do some what ifs after that.
Yeah, no, I totally remember this. We were all caught off guard, just in that, I'm pretty sure nobody's probably seen this. This specific thing happen, but the crew had patient whistles, and they were reading the play. And pregame, we talked a lot about not reacting and reading the play as it happened. This was at the end of a very intense game. Obviously, they recovered. We're in a different game situation. The environment was definitely tense. First time I've ever been there. The crew communication, it was quick. It was efficient. They got Stewart in there, our referee. And I mean, he gave the announcement. I was just impressed. And it was something I've never seen before. So I'm still trying. It still catches me off guard looking at the play right now. So yeah, the crew did a fantastic job just communicating with each other and getting the information over to the referee, and referee giving a great announcement.
So, Karina, nobody had the ball. The kicker's leg or foot did not touch the ball. That's what the ruling on the field was.
The ruling on the field was that it was touched, that it was kicked.
Oh,
that was the ruling on the field.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So they got together. If you can see right there, the back judge is waving over the referee because they all have the same thing. I didn't get a good view at it. I was looking at the ball, and I asked myself the same thing: did he kick it or not?
Right.
Obviously, they're closer. They got a little bit better view on it, whether he did or did not.
Right.
I still can't tell this to this day. You flip a coin, and I don't know. What do you guys
That's
think?
just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it really matters. I mean, you got to make a ruling on the field, and you got to go with it.
right.
And you did. So the ruling on the field is the ball was kicked and then basically illegally touched by Team A. I think A ends up recovering it, so it's going to be simply B's ball right there. What if he doesn't? I mean, so that's good. What if he doesn't kick it? What is this? Anything other than just a do-over? What is
It's a
your
strike.
insight? Does anybody have insight on that?
Yeah, it's a strike one.
Strike one? Is it just like, I'm serious, is it just like the ball falling off the tee?
Yeah, that would be my instinct.
I would say for the sake of the game, the Florida State had just scored prior to this kickoff. They were coming back. I believe they were down by 10. Just for the sake, if we truly knew that it wouldn't, I would be good with it. I don't know if we went down to what is. We were talking more about just, the communication part of it. My personal opinion would be just for the game itself, if we know it fell off. But I mean, I guess technically you can have a flag on this as well, right?
Yeah. So let's go through what foul would we have if nobody touched the ball? What foul would we have? We can't have false start on a kickoff. There's no such thing.
No.
You can't have OFK because the ball wasn't kicked.
Didn't kick it.
The only thing we could end up with is what? Delay a game? Maybe?
Delay a game. That's what I was thinking.
Delay, probably delay, right?
Yeah.
But if the ball falls off the tee, you just reset the play clock.
You reset the play clock. Exactly.
So
Right.
yeah.
So if we rule that the ball was not touched by the kicker, yeah, I don't know what we would have other than a do-over, which would be ugly, but I mean, it is what it is.
I think that's exactly what we have. We've seen it where the kicker approaches the ball and the wind, the gust of wind blows that ball off, and
Right.
fortunately we see it and we just shut it down. And I think that's what we would do here.
That's right.
If we rule and we know that he didn't touch that thing, I think we just shut it down and redo it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've seen it where, as the kicker was, I don't know what the term is for that. Maybe Seth can help us, is rearing back right before he kicks it, the ball starts to fall off the tee, which is really bizarre. But I think most of us have probably seen that where we shut that down as well.
Right.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Was there any feedback from the replay officials? Did they consider this reviewable at all? And I'm not saying they should have done anything, but I was wondering if they had feedback.
No, we went with the ruling on the field. And
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong, it is not reviewable, right?
Whew.
That's a good question. What we review?
I kind of think it is. Touching of a kick. I mean, this isn't a.
Well,
kick
it's not a
yet.
kick until it's kicked.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree. I hear you, but man, I mean, at this point in the game, it would be unfortunate to say that this isn't reviewable if it's clear and obvious that he doesn't touch it.
Uh-huh.
Don't you feel like maybe this isn't explicitly handled in the rules, but it just common sense applies?
Yeah.
And again, that's only if it's clear and obvious. I agree. I still can't tell.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, we have if the replay official did see something, they can 0-2-0 at something, right?
Yeah. Now, what would not be is if we kill it because we think he didn't, and then the replay official sees he did. That would not be reviewable.
Yeah,
because we've shut the play down.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's like the quarterback stepping out of bounds and then throws the pass. We can't play continuing action into that, So if we rule or whatever, I probably said that wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, we couldn't go continuing action if we basically shut the play down.
True.
That's a
Very
crazy play.
All right, so that's our outlier play for the night. Let's get into some football.
Yes.
Let's go play 2. if we
Well,
can.
you don't expect to see it in a game like that. Maybe when Pop Warner on Saturdays, when the 6-year-old's kicking off.
Salt Lake City semi-pro camp.
There you go.
Right.
Game 1.
So we said rivalry game as this play starts to load, and Karita, you all were just busting your tail the whole day, policing dead ball action, right?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It was, even at pregame, they wanted to fight each other. So it definitely was before the game even started.
Whoa. Number 37. Okay. Where was he? He wasn't even in the.
He's right there at the bottom of the screen. So the Florida receiver grabs him, starts yanking him. He looks at the play. It's a run play. It's clear. Like, he knows the play is done. And then he starts grabbing the defender. He's about a foot taller than him, just punking him. And so I'm yelling at him, stop. He's definitely, that's what triggers the reaction.
Oh, so you're saying that number 4, number 4 is the receiver, really was the kind of aggressor to start it all?
Yeah, if you see it, I think it's in the first clip.
Oh, here we go. We can see on the wide angle.
He sees it's a run play. His helmet turns, and then I'm going to go after this kid.
And then there's the other issue on the other side of the field. This is crazy.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
This is an exciting play.
Yes, this was.
Okay,
so
Brandon,
I guess I'll just walk you guys through what I kind of had on the field then.
Yeah.
So I have my number 1 receiver, this guy. I already had a UNS for number 4. So I had talked to number 4, stop, let him go. We had talked enough that at that point had warranted a UNS because I had told him to stop so many times. He kept doing that on every play. As soon as 37 goes in there and just, in my opinion at the time on the field, I saw open hand slap. So I was like, let's tag both of them with UNSs because they're both at it. Obviously we have an instigator, we have someone reacting. Boss came back, says he's got to go for that. So totally do what the boss says. It was a great learning moment because, we're always taught to like dead ball officiate and just do not leave the scene until we're done. Right. But they wouldn't let go. You have the line judge in there. You have the back judge in there trying to break them up. Then you have these guys over on the right side of the field. By the time I finally run over to my referee, he's getting ready to announce. He's like, hey, we got 2 UNRs, and I have to go in there and like stop. Because it did take a while just to get him away. And that threw him off of his announcement. I can imagine you guys, right? You're about to announce, and it's like, hold up. We have more fouls.
Yes.
What about your funny whistle? Did you use your funny whistle throughout the dead ball period?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we definitely had but I don't think the crew that was handling the top of the scuffle on the top of the numbers knew that there was a scuffle on with us down there at the bottom of the numbers, and vice versa. We didn't know there was a scuffle over there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was such a blind spot. So ultimately, they're trying to get their UNR sorted out. I'm, in the middle of processing my numbers. I know I definitely got UNSs at the point on both of them. However, in the middle of, and this is why like communication is very important, because when he's announcing UNRs, he announced that both those fouls on my keys were UNRs as well. I didn't go in there and clarify, Stuart, I need UNSs on 37 and number 4. So he announced UNRs, and that was my mistake right there, where I let my referee. I didn't go over his announcement with them. I just went in there, gave him my information, assumed he was going to take it, and somewhere in between all that, UNRs. By the time he announced it, I'm like, I talked myself into UNRs instead of saying, hey, they should have been UNSs. So more than anything on my part, this was a big breakdown in communication on my end that ultimately set up the referee to give an incorrect announcement, and we didn't put in a UNS on either of them. And at that point, a UNR is inexcusable for number 37.
Right.
Like, you just can't. It's either you're out or UNS. But it was a great learning play.
No,
that is great self-evaluation. I
Wow,
love
isn't it? That is awesome.
Okay.
So I love the UNS versus UNR comment, especially he's either out or he's got a UNS. That was great. What about the is it number 56, I believe, who kind of dives on this guy. How did we? I think we arrived at UNR for him too. How did was there any talk? Should that be a UNS, or do we like that as UNR?
No, they had UNRs on both of them. They were good with that conversation for both of them.
Okay. So if we handled it, and I agree, I think it is a foul. Obviously, he attacks a player who's laying on the ground. So let's explain if this was handled perfectly. How did you all arrive at if this was handled perfectly? What would be the result?
I think at this point right there, right as I go to 37, just separate them and I knew my back judge and line judge were there. My back judge also had flags, and we all saw that. So what we kind of left that for a little bit better efficiency would be maybe once I know my back judge and line judge are there, I know we try to be pure, like don't leave it until colors separate, kind of to be more involved in the process of what a referee's announcement should be, and to put yourself in the shoes of a referee to, hey, they need my information because they're not going to sit here and wait forever. So for me, that was, and obviously, regardless if it looks wrong, standing up, and we need UNSs on that. There's just totally not okay to have a UNR on 37. I guess in a perfect world.
Okay, so what were the fouls on the play? I think that's what we're trying to get to. The fouls on the play. You had UNS 37, Florida State, UNS 4, Florida. What were the fouls at the top? Was it only just a UNR on number 56 for Florida State, or was there anything? 56 for. Wait, who was 56? Who? Florida.
For Florida.
Yes.
Florida.
Was there anything on number 4 for Florida State?
Yes, they both got UNRs.
Number 4 got a UNR. What did he do to warrant?
You know what? I was busy trying to sort out Stewart to get my UNSs. I was not even part. They're having right there. If you see the conversation, they're having a conversation.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of that one. All I know is that we already had multiple UNSs at this point. This game, like I said, from pregame, we had to break. Yeah, we had to break up a scuffle. They were. I mean, it was tense, and there was plenty of UNSs at this point that any other day these probably could have been UNSs. But I'm personally good with how many UNSs we had. That this was a UNR. I think maybe you could, looking back on it now, maybe UNS is all around again. And you know what? If it's this early in the game and you got yourself disqualified, then hey, that's kind of on you.
Gotcha. I was just wondering if what number 4 did, because we don't see him do anything from a striking or anything else. Right. I wonder if he spit on the player or if he said something, which that would be odd that we would make that a UNR. And the ultimate reason why I'm asking is because communication has to be really important because we have 2 number 4s on the field. If we are giving number 4 a UNS and number 4 a UNR, we absolutely have to know which number 4 has the UNS, which number 4 has the UNR, because they have on 2 different jerseys. And obviously that's very important.
Yeah, definitely. Another point that we discussed, just the optics of what everybody's seeing. Everybody's seeing the slap, right? That stands out.
Yes.
We know as dead ball officiating where you're not letting him go. Yes, that's a UNS. But for the sake of you just got slapped, maybe I could UNS him on another play because the hold wasn't as big as a slap on the face. Because now, if you're calling same UNS on you, are you saying it's the same? Because it's not. You're just being a punk and won't let him go. You just slapped them. Offsetting or not, that was another part of the discussion that we got into it. Maybe not necessarily going with the UNS for number 4, just for the optics of you can't slap somebody. You can't.
So that's an interesting thought. What I don't like about the road we're thinking about going down there is kind of gaming the system because, if we shave a little here and we shave a little there, we kind of end up with nothing. I guess I'd really like to hear the others too, but I just kind of prefer to make them what they actually are. And like what I'm seeing is that slap is UNS. I didn't really see what led to that. I like 56 for Florida as a UNR. because it's totally unnecessary, obviously, but it's kind of action in the play. It almost rises to the level of targeting if he really gets him in the head with force. But I'm not a fan of we start going down the path was I'm just going to hang a UNS on him. I'm going to convert, UNRs to UNSs to send a message. I don't know. If it's not enough, then make it a flagrant UNR. And if we're talking about disqualification, just do that. I just don't like saying, let's kind of show them who we are, being we're just going to put UNSs all over, So, and I know that's not what you're saying. I've heard a lot of officials think about it like that. If it's football-related act, it's UNR. If it's not, it's UNS. And that's where I like it to be.
Yeah, I agree. It keeps it simple, and then we don't have to start judging that, and we just keep it simple. UNS is a UNS, UNR is a UNR. Ejection is an ejection.
I think A4's action is a good opportunity for us to talk about this concept of UNR versus UNS relative to continuing or immediate continuing action, because we talk about that in terms of like if we hit a guy around a pile, right? We block him or we come in on the runner a little bit late. When we feel like it's a part of playing football, we say UNR, and that's what Brandon was saying. If it's UNR, it's UNR. If it's a part of the football play, but it may not be just relative to timing. So like everything else, proximity may come into play. So A4 and B37 are way over here on the other side of the field, on the other side of all of the action. All of the stuff he's doing, it may not be super, super late to where you would think, well, it's clearly not a part of the football play. But it doesn't have anything to do with the football play at all. So because it's so far away, that leans towards UNS because he's really not blocking him in the sense of trying to keep him from getting to a runner. Like Karina said so eloquently, he's being a punk. So that's where we can get to the UNS on that specific action. That make sense?
Is that letter J under UNS, Daniel, being a punk? Is that letter J under
That's right.
UNS?
That's right. It's PUN is the
it's the UNS-PU. I like that. No, but Daniel, I think I really agree with that because we always say, okay, the play is over. If it's close to the end of the play and it's a football action, then we have to make it. We're going to make it a UNR. This play wasn't over, and what he was doing wasn't really. It was a football type of move, I guess, as a blocking action, but it literally was just somebody just being an idiot. And I think I like what you're saying. We probably can and should consider that as UNS, even though it's not a non-football type of act. And I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, because also when you think about the alternative, calling that a UNR, well, he doesn't necessarily send him to the ground. He doesn't. It's not really rough. He's just manhandling him and creating a situation for 37 to slap him in the side of the face.
That's correct.
Right. So even going to UNR is a little bit, you got to kind of stretch it a little. I mean, there's a pretty good shove right there before. So maybe that, but I think putting those two different things or thoughts together is where you land on UNS and that.
All right, Brandon. So we got to enforce this. What are we about to do? Okay, Brandon must have had a flight to catch. He's out. So we got to enforce this.
So we got to enforce this 2 times.
I'm here.
Okay, we got to enforce this. So we have 4 fouls on the. We should have made this a poll. We have 4 fouls, 2 on each team on the play. I'm assuming we're calling all of them dead ball. Wait, let's ask Karina. Karina, did we call all of these fouls dead ball fouls?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how about if we chat poll it? Chat poll. Let's get some enforcements. Chat poll. How are we going to enforce this? We have 4 dead ball fouls, 2 by each team. How are we going to mark off the yardage? What is going to be the down after we're done? Chat poll it up. Let's see what we come up with. Because this is really interesting.
while that chat pulls up, maybe I could ask you guys a question.
Absolutely.
As referees, right? So, put yourself in Stewart's position. You're in there, you're breaking that up. You don't see what's going on the other side of the field. You're trying to sort all that out. You're about to turn your microphone on to make an announcement. And here comes your little field judge telling you, wait, stop. We got more. How would do you start over from the beginning? You start collecting again? How would you like the crew to communicate with you guys?
Okay, say that again. So he had turned on the microphone and started his announcement, or he was about to start his announcement?
He was about to start his announcement, and he
Okay,
only
so he
had
hadn't
the
started
information
Got
from
it.
the H at that point, right?
Got
there.
it. Okay.
You see me sprinting over, I think in one of these clips, they're huddled, and I do a little sprint over.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I think what I would just do is I would stop my process and start the process all over again. I would want to know what you have. Hopefully I can process it really quickly. It looks like we're really good in the chat poll. All dead ball files are going to cancel. So hopefully when you come up and you tell me you have dead ball files too, well, all I need to do now is just remember the numbers and remember to make the announcement relative to unsportsmanlike conduct and putting the counter on the player. So this particular situation maybe shouldn't throw off my process too much, because all we're doing is just adding more to what was already going to be announced anyway. And we're not changing any enforcements. Everything is still good. Brandon, you got something different on that?
No, I completely agree. Just stop, recollect ourselves. We can't get too worried about what it's going to look like at that point.
No,
got to get more worried about getting it right. So obviously, we can adjust processes later, but now we got to focus on just getting it right.
Yeah. So Jeff is saying, what if we had already completed an announcement? Well, I would sincerely hope that we wouldn't complete the announcement before Karina comes running over there, because if she did, the TV might catch me with a really ugly look on my face and probably some not kind words to myself, not to Karina. I would never have unkind words towards you, Karina. But yeah, I would hope that the covering official would be able to catch the referee before they make the announcement, because if we have a whole nother file that we have to adjudicate, how's that for a word, big word today, then we can't make an announcement without having all the information on all of the files and flags that we have on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of those situations.
Question is, go ahead, Dua.
Well, it'll lead well into you answering the question. One of those situations where just some very fundamental rules knowledge is going to make life much easier for everyone, yes. Right? If we just miss this, this really is a fundamental principle of foul enforcement. And if we're, if the moment's too big, if we're not thinking clearly, if somebody on the crew is not with it, we're going to go through a lot of, as Brandon likes to say, mental gymnastics for nothing.
That's right.
That's right. So, yeah, the question here is, like, let's say the smack was later. Let's say the smack was later. So, and by later, I guess the proposed situation here is the smack. I don't know if the smack comes after the announcement or it's just the fact that the reporting comes after the announcement. So, Tuta, are you still going to do what you just said?
Absolutely not. If the smack comes way after the announcement, that's a whole nother file. That, in fact, a whole other segment, a whole other segment of the play.
Perfect. So that's when the actual act comes later. If it's due to a lag in reporting, whether we were still policing that or we were, just maybe whatever, we just didn't report it in time. I don't know, whatever. The referee didn't realize there was another foul.
Right.
Then I'm going to revert back to what we just talked about. So to me, it's when the actual act happens, not when it's reported, even though the rule might guide us to think differently, right? It's because, the penalties cancel or whatever it says when, until after the fouls are reported to the referee. Doesn't it use some wording like that? Which has just always been weird to me. But I think they're getting at your segmentation
Yeah, and I just typed it, and for everyone's knowledge, I'm Daniel today. So anyway, that's not Daniel typing. Daniel cannot spell half of the words that I put on here.
That's
so
right.
the rule says when dead ball, unsportsmanlike, or dead ball personal fouls by both teams are reported to the referee, and none of the penalties have been completed. So technically, if we finish our announcement, the penalties haven't been completed, but I don't care. If I finish my announcement, but you know what? I'm going to say we're already enforcing these things. And if something happens way that late after the play, I'm making that another segment. Anyway, so it says, and none of the penalties have been completed. The yardage penalties cancel, and the number or type of down established before the fouls occurs is unaffected. So in other words, basically whatever the result of the play is, that's what it is. And everything is just canceled.
There it is.
There it is.
All right, let's get into some more. This is more like sane football. Next two plays. Okay, I think this will be pretty quick. We're going to watch the action involving the number 3 receiver trips to the right of the offense's formation. And I think we didn't need a poll for this. I mean, by now I think we're all kind of on the same page. 2-step process. So Karina, you're a 2-step process expert, I assume, working the position you do.
I would hope so.
Very good. You got to observe this miraculous catch, by the way. This is by number 80. Great catch.
It's amazing.
So we see action involving the number 3 receiver that is clearly in a vacuum. I mean, at least to me, would rise to the level of defensive holding. And there is a flag, but that's okay. But so Daniel, that's your guy. He's coming at you. Just talk us through real quick, fundamentally, how you want to process that.
So we talk about just the mechanics of the 2-step process a lot. And here's one of the things that you have to be cognizant of as a back judge, especially with a tight number 3 receiver, or it could be twins. But whenever your key is tight to that formation and he runs down the seam, oftentimes you have the ability to look through the action on your receiver to the quarterback. Let me not say it like that. You're not really looking through the quarterback, but you can sense the quarterback throwing the ball out of your peripherals, right? And so this one may not necessarily apply one-to-one, but the principle I think is worth mentioning. You can see that a restriction may occur before the ball comes out of the quarterback's hand or before he's committed to where he's going. And one of the things you need to be aware of as a back judge is making sure that even though you can see through there, that you're not rushing to that judgment, that you're still working the 2-step process, right? I'll never forget one. We had one year where the quarterback was looking through my guy, right? So if we're looking at twins over here to the same twins, number 3 kind of curls up right there and gets restricted really pretty significantly. And the ball comes out right then. Well, my quarterback's looking at that receiver. And so I fire because he's going to that guy, right? So I don't need the 2-step process necessarily if he's throwing it to him. Well, what I had missed was the other receiver on the wide side had run a post, and the quarterback was launching it to him right as the ball came out, and he ended up catching it behind me, and it was a disaster. But we picked it up, so that was good. But the point of all that is we need to just process this. Even when we can see that quarterback, we need to work the 2-step process. So that means if that means kind of inserting almost an artificial delay, which is a little bit dangerous, but if that's what it means for you as you kind of learn how to do that, maybe that's a good first step. But we need to have a sense as we're observing this hold, think about really where the quarterback is in his process and just make it a real practical or pragmatic application. If I see the hold and there's no way that the quarterback is considering this receiver because he's already made the decision, we need to stay off it. And really that's what the 2-step process is seeing the restriction, finding the ball. But from the back judge perspective, sometimes it's a little bit trickier than that. I know that I kind of went around and around there, but I hope that makes sense. Because I think it matters. I think that's something we need to consider as back judges.
So Daniel, hold on. I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
I'm looking at it from the end zone view, which is like the back judge's view.
Right.
Are you going to tell me out of your peripheral you wouldn't see that ball already coming out and maybe not even see that turn? That ball is out. That ball is out significant. And when I say significant, I mean in football terms.
In football terms is what you're saying.
In football terms, that ball is out significantly before the full restriction even completes itself. So you may see a hand going out, but the ball is in the air. And now, unless we have a World War III that we have to evaluate, that action is totally insignificant.
Yeah, you're right. You may not even see that action because as the ball's coming out, but sometimes it just depends too, Todd. There's times, and you've probably experienced this too as a deep wing, and Karina can speak to it, where you're locked in on your key and you don't have a great sense of when the ball comes out. In this case, you may see the ball coming out and be off of it before that restriction ever even occurs.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably a really good point that I missed.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I understand that. It makes sense based on years of training and listening to you babble on about it all the time.
Yeah,
Great. Karina processes this amazing catch, and what I'm about to say is not. But let's say, so he catches the ball with his right hand, sorry. His left hand's kind of in the chest of the defender. It's not a foul. Okay, whatever. Let's say it is. Let's say he creates separation. And then Karina fires OPI on that. Again, not saying it was. So are we still good with this clear and obvious fouling action being not called, even if we have OPI at the mesh point here?
I'm 100% fine with it not being
absolutely
called. That foul, that should not be a flag. That is not a foul.
I'm good with that.
It's away. It's totally away from the play at that point.
Yep. Okay,
and it occurred after the ball was in the air. So my main problem is, as a back judge, guess what? That when you talk about the receiver catching the ball with one arm, what if his left arm was getting pinned to his body? Karina can't see that from the sideline. Right. It's impossible. So as a back judge, you got to be able to work that. So had that really been DPI, we would totally miss that because we're working action that's totally irrelevant to the play.
Good. Okay, good. I'm fine with that. Let's go to the next play real quick. We can circle back if you want to, but I want to try to make a point here. Let's go to play 4. So now we're going to have, here we go. Maybe the video is going to start good this time.
It's playing.
Okay, watch the action. Good. Watch the action involving interior lineman. The most clear and obvious takedown hold you've ever seen in your life. It's number 65.
Right.
Right. I mean, this game was nuts, honestly. This game was just grabbing people and throwing them to the ground, Karina. Man, this is a long day at the office. All right.
This is fun.
Well, guess what? Yeah, I'm sure you did. Guess what? This hold's happening. What's happening to the quarterback?
He's being tackled.
He's being sacked by another teammate of the guy that gets held. Okay. It's easy to argue that this hold has zero impact on this play, right?
Right.
Okay. But we've heard a little bit different evaluation of this, or by some. Maybe some don't want this, maybe some do. Talk me through the difference in how you see this, if you do see a difference from the last play, because we said, and you made a good point. The hold practically happens after the ball's released, which means by rule it's not even a foul. But okay, 2-step process, he's kind of getting grabbed, whatever. So we're going to pass on that due to our 2-step process. Is this any different? Obviously, it's offensive holding versus defensive holding. We have a standard on how we apply the 2-step process to defensive holding. Is there a standard we should apply here? Should we call it?
I think there is a standard.
What if the defense, lined up in the neutral zone?
Right.
Or was offside of the snap, whatever. So talk me through. You said there's a difference. What is it?
I think there is a different standard from offensive line. Well, how do I say this? Geez, I don't know how to say this without talking myself into a corner.
Well, I kind of trapped you.
I know, and I fell for it. I know what you were doing. I fell for it, but perhaps this is poetic justice because it looks like the right tackle was holding anyway.
gather your thoughts. I'm just making a point here that I do think there's different standards on action and we do apply standards differently around the field. And I think we have to be okay with that, you know.
Yeah.
There's absolutes in officiating. If the next time you find one, let me know, because I don't really think there is absolutes. And I think we just got to start, you know, being more situational. So okay, I'm ready.
So how about this then? How would you like to
yours.
evaluate? How would you like to evaluate? You're the umpire on this play. How would you want to evaluate this? You see a clear and obvious throw down. What are you going to do? You're going to immediately throw your flag, or you're going to find the status of the ball?
I sure hope that I want to find the status of the football. Don't you?
Okay.
I mean, I really
Yes.
do.
Yes.
I agree. This is an egregious takedown, and there is something by somebody written somewhere in a manual that says, you know, takedowns in the open field deserve special. Okay, great. I still do want to evaluate this advantage disadvantage. It gets sticky if they were lined up in the neutral zone, you know, and we don't ignore that foul, but we do. It somewhat could be accused of ignoring this foul. So that's kind of the discussion I want to have, because we kind of said last play we're ignoring fouling action. It's not really fouling action because the ball's in the air, but you see what the point I'm trying to make. But I just think we do have the ability to use a little bit of a different two-step process here and evaluate this for advantage disadvantage. I mean, what do you think?
No, I agree. Absolutely. But it's just weird, I guess, with holding with linemen versus I think it's way more clear cut for me on defensive holding in the passing game. Yeah, if the ball is gone, we just flat out can't have defensive holding.
Yeah.
It's a little different here.
Even if the hold happens and with just a split fraction, you know, that two-step process time window, the ball's gone to the other part of the field. We just don't have defensive holding.
Foul. Exactly.
Here I can. I know what I just said, but I can also understand why we would call this, especially within a context of the game. If we're seeing poor technique all over the field, eventually we have to call stuff like this too. You know, so that's why there's just no absolutes to me, Tuta.
Correct. No. I'm fully with you, because I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. We always preach to each other. You know, we've all heard you can't throw an angry flag. You can't let your emotions get the hold of you. If this dude was grabbing all game long and throwing the dude down all game long, right at the end of the play, I'm gonna get mad eventually and say, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna stick his ass with a flag. I'm sorry. Oops.
Yeah. Oh,
we know.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, let's just be honest here. We're all human. We can't just talk to players all day long, especially in the game. Karina already mentioned we had fights before the game even started. So at some point in time, we can't just allow just horrible and inappropriate techniques to continue. And I'm not saying I don't know what this dude did all day long. I have no idea. I'm just saying.
Well, I kind of have an idea just by watching several of the plays from this game, Karina. So I believe in the context of this game, this is a call we needed to make. And I don't know if you guys discussed it or not.
Yes, we all love the call just because of the nature of the game.
So I think
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead, Diwa.
So, you know, you're processing this center judge referee, and you know, in your process you're saying, all right, I'm going to pocket this takedown. What if the quarterback scrambles at that point, breaks for it, makes a nice pass? Is your flag coming out like 15 seconds later?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. Yes.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
The only way I'm not going to throw a flag on this play is if the quarterback is being sacked like he was in this situation, but he's kind of still upright. And if we have a chippy game and a technique has been really poor throughout the game, then I'm gonna stretch that a little bit and say, you know what, the play wasn't over. The defender still had a chance to impact the play. I'm gonna throw a flag. But if the quarterback does scramble, absolutely, I'll throw a flag an hour later.
I'll go one step farther. If the quarterback attempts to break the tackle and is able to just stay up a little bit for some time,
right,
it's a foul.
Perfect.
It's a foul, and I think it's a foul anyway based on context of the game when what you've explained. Yes. But you know, it doesn't. I don't need the quarterback to completely break this tackle. If he dumps the ball away.
Oh, exactly. Right, Brandon.
Yeah,
Right.
right. I mean, any
right.
element of time at all other than this
Yes.
is 1,000% a foul based on what we see.
Yeah, think about it like that. Let's say he dumps the ball, and now we're gonna either have what down. I don't know what down this was. We're just gonna like go back to the previous spot without this foul and without the 10 yards. Oh, no way,
No.
absolutely not.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna take these 10 yards, and we're gonna march you back, and we're gonna play another down.
Yeah, good. DY, what else did you have on this?
Well, I wanted to just circle back to kind of the original proposition and just give my opinion. I don't know necessarily that it's right, because it is tricky when you think about, well, that should have been offset, but we didn't call it for this or for that. But I think for our purposes on the field, we're going to be more consistent and better off if we just let the principles and the philosophies that we have guide us, and not try to necessarily play that game. So we, and it brings up, there was some conversation in the chat on play 3 where, there's things that by definition are illegal in the game, but we as officials know that we have worked long and hard to understand how to apply the rules to create an actual foul, right? A quality foul, something that rises to the level of a foul. This language we use all of the time. That's because we've learned all of these different elements. I mean, my goodness, how many times have we talked about holding and the process that goes into calling it? And what I think we're going to be best off is doing that, applying those processes, applying those things we need. So if you say, this is too tight to the tackle and it's not a foul in your opinion, then that's great. And unfortunately, coach, we didn't offset, but we can justify why we didn't call this a hold, because we're going to do it all game, or not going to do it all game long. If it's a takedown in the wide open field and we're going to call this every time, then that's how we're going to officiate it. And I think if we apply those principles consistently, we may get in one or two areas where, we didn't offset something. And again, I could be totally wrong, and your conference supervisor says, no, don't do that. Think about offset and so whatever. But from my perspective, I think just applying the principles and the philosophies that we have to call or create quality fouls is where we're going to be best, just as a whole group.
Perfect. Great thoughts, guys.
All right. Let's keep rolling with this crazy game. It's about to get crazier, I believe. Oh, boy. Here we go. This is a pretty wild play. We'll hit a little OPI, and then we'll do a little no catch near the goal line here in a second. Man, this guy was running hard. This number one for Florida was running hard. He was playing with a lot of energy. Okay, is the video going or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Brand new Houston Texan, baby.
Here it goes. Okay, cool.
That dude right there, number 27?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember, we got to see him in February in Mobile. This dude can play.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember that?
And he's quite fearless. So we see what happens. Helmet, is it ripped off? Is it knocked off? I don't know.
You got to give him
talk about that if you want.
Give him a touchdown, Curry.
And then he continues on. So let's go to the field judge on the game. What was the discussion with all of this? There's a possibility for some flags. Oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Yeah, no. So I'm definitely reliving it again every time I see it. So we had just came off, I think that, I don't know if this is the first play in the fourth quarter, but right as we finished the third quarter, we had offsetting UNSs. So again, we're back at the same thing. Both these, they're going at it every time. And I believe it was 27 and 10 kept going at it. 10 is actually the one that rips the helmet and goes for the tackle, I guess you would say. So we're seeing it. We did have a quick whistle. As soon as the helmet comes off, I mean, you could see immediately the umpire right there. He gets on the whistle. It's a quick whistle. The crew did a great job of getting on the whistle. I'm trying to get 10 out of there. From my view, I see the helmet off. We all get on the whistle. And then, I mean, clearly we hear the whistle enough. We see it. And then I see 10 just line himself up a nice shot once he knows I got you. So that caught me off guard. I obviously have never seen this. I don't think this has happened before. So I'm just like, what are you doing? The sentiment. And then he keeps at it. And I'm like, okay, is this a foul? Is what I'm asking. I'm like, well, you just, from my view, that corner view, I saw 10 just see a free shot at him. And then he kept at it. So I'm going in there. I definitely, I was on the whistle too, as far as I could see the helmet off from back there. At the time, we had illegal participation. And if we were all in a calm environment in our desks, very relaxed, we would probably say, hey, you can't have illegal participation when the play is dead, right? Obviously, that was not the case. But we get in there, we're trying to break them up. And again, everybody's trying to get the information to Stuart. We're trying to figure it out what we have. So the line judge and myself had illegal participation. And then the back judge and myself had a UNR for the hit by number 10 at the goal line. So in my judgment, you had enough time to stop playing. Yeah, you're trying to be a tough guy. Yeah, you would do everything in your being to get to that goal line. I understand that. But in my opinion, it's your responsibility. The whistle stops. And my mind went to illegal participation. Again, if you just, hold down on definition, you can't have that. Then I saw number 10 try to take a shot. And I did a double take. I'm like, did you just go in there with your forearm? Because I don't know if you can see right there on that last shot, you see number 10 kind of like his forearm kind of extends a little bit. And then I'm like, can you have targeting? Wait, what?
Oh, the dude without a
helmet. Okay, so you said illegal participation, and you are referencing the rule that suggests a player without his helmet can't continue to participate. Is that? Yeah.
Yes. And, I was actually corrected in my study group the other day. That's a high school term. Continued participation without
a personal foul.
Without a helmet. There you go. Yeah. Yep. And that's a personal foul. Okay. So let's just go right there to that one, and we can get all into this craziness later. So in what you're saying is, upon reflection, you don't like the call because really the ball's dead, so there's really no continued participation. Is that what you're saying?
Well, after the boss said, do what Shaw says, and then, my first time making a national training tape, that was an experience in itself.
This was
it's not a foul on either of them. So to be honest, that one kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, how do you, with all the chaos in the game, I kind of just had to let it soak in. And, the beauty of all of this is do what your supervisor says, right? So case in point, boss says do what Shaw says on this play. He even asked them for an interpretation.
Good. So
we had one that very week. And I guess that's what boss says in this case. Just get in there, break them up. I just, for me, my personal opinion, it's just, we protect their heads so much, right? How do you not have a foul on that? It's just especially with 10 is head hunting. You have enough of this game. He's in there. They were going out. He's even the one who rips off his helmet.
He's right. He's the one who pulled the helmet. Yeah. So he knows the guy's helmet is off.
Yes. So
we use, I'll interrupt you just real quick. So we use this play, it sounds like, to kind of set an expectation or a standard that we don't want to call a player and I know you can't participate when the ball's dead. Okay. I understand that, but we don't want this for that foul, even though he obviously continues. This is pretty much just natural. Yes, the ball's dead when his helmet comes off. So, okay, we don't want that and I think I understand that. I don't understand what we started saying about number 10's actions. Man, I agree with what you're evaluating here. Is there anybody that would say that number 10 could not have held up here, or he could have avoided this much contact to a helmetless player? Man, that's really interesting. Daniel, what do you think about this?
D-Rod had a flight to catch as well.
He has a flight to catch. Why don't you take over then?
No, I'm 100% on board with you. And again, this is time for us to put up our disclaimer. We're just
yes,
dudes talking football. And I don't want to say chicks because that seems to be inappropriate. Kareem, we're
really
a bunch of guys. I don't like
Apparently,
gals
we're very,
either. I don't like
apparently we're very
gals. I hate
rude,
that
too.
word.
I
I guess
don't know.
Ladies,
We're trying to be
women,
rude,
we're a bunch
man.
of dudes and a bunch of women talking football. So, take that with a grain of salt. But for me, I agree 100% with you, Brandon. Number one, and like Karina said, number 10 is the one who pulled the dude's helmet off. So there's no way number 10 can say, I don't know that this guy doesn't have a helmet on, and I'm going to continue to attack him anyway. I'm sorry. That's a foul all day long in my book. Get it, number 27, get it. We can't participate after the play is dead, technically. But number 10, I think we're going to stick that guy with a foul. I'm sorry.
So too tough with that.
Yep.
Going back to this being debated. Sorry, this being debated 10 different ways. Why is it at that point? So if that's the case where we don't penalize the runner, right? So why do you get to keep playing? You get to pull this nonsense, and the other guy has to stop. That's the only part that doesn't, in my opinion, if you're not tagging them both with something.
Well, I'll say. No, I agree. Okay, but this would be my answer to that. This is to me similar to like delay a game on a fair catch situation on a kick on a punt play.
Mm-hmm.
We blow the whistles and the dude continues running down the field. Nobody goes and hits him generally. This is to me is even worse because it's a safety issue. We blow the whistles, we kill the play. I don't care that he continues to run. That doesn't give everyone else carte blanche to just hit him. Now, look at 37. Watch 37 in the play. He actually jumped away because he could have destroyed this dude, but he's like, nope, this dude doesn't have a helmet. Play is over. I'm going to leave him alone. Number 10 made a conscious decision to go after the player after ripping his helmet off and hitting him. And for me, I just can't excuse that. That's to me a safety, and I would like to protect players if I can.
That is the point. Look at 37. Yeah, I know you just said it. I'm going to say it again. This is how fast these players can react. They can easily.
Athletes. They can stop. Yeah, they can stop.
They can stop. Karina's on the whistle.
That's
right.
Her
say she's on the whistle. The umpire's on the whistle.
Yeah.
37 reacted. 10 consciously decided. This is like a second act. And This is a clear and obvious foul to me. In the moment, this is a foul. I'm sorry. This is a foul for unnecessary roughness. Hit on the defense.
So what about 11? Is it a foul for UNR and him too, in your mind?
I'm a little.
He wraps up.
No.
I'm a little iffy on
11. I don't see it. I don't see it as roughness. This guy just takes a shot at this guy and practically to his head.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm good with 11. This is why I'm saying there's really no absolutes. I mean, if we say every contact, right?
Yeah.
If we say every contact after the helmet comes off is a foul, then 11 would be a foul. But
I mean, that 11 has all the time in the world to stop playing football as well. If that's the standard,
yeah, but it's got to be.
Well, no, that's not the standard, Daniel. I think that's a piece of the equation. The piece of the equation is time to stop, and then the other piece is what do we do with the action after we had time to stop? 11 kind of just wraps the dude up. Number 10 does a lot more than just trying to wrap the dude up. I think he's intentionally trying to punish, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with what 10 does versus what 11 does.
Yeah, and let's this really is.
So Daniel, that's cool.
This is a defenseless player. Right?
Daniel, what's your take? Yeah, he is. So Daniel, you're advocating no foul on.
Yeah. I'm on the other side of this one. I think you guys.
Okay, good.
I understand. Well, everything. I just think everything that happens from the time that the helmet off. When you look at number 10, and I get the whistle, and there's plenty of time to react, but everybody's still playing football. The play's dead, but 10's playing football, 11's playing football, 27's playing football. 37 does a great job, and that's probably ideal, and that's probably the one part that kills my argument. But to me, I don't know. It just looks like everybody keeps playing football after the helmet comes off. And while we can react really quick, also, in reality, the span of time for us seeing the helmet off and the delay from seeing it to recognizing that we need to blow our whistle to them hearing the whistle, that's a really, really small piece of time in my opinion. So
absolutely,
I think it's really, really interesting stuff. Really
good.
Unique.
So good. So people can take those separate thoughts and
Yeah,
decide
do
for
it what you
themselves.
Yep.
Can I add
Here's
something
what I
else
like.
there?
Yeah, and then we got a question for you. Go ahead, Karina.
Oh, okay. So for me, another breakdown on this is I really enjoy the debate back and forth, but a major breakdown for me, the line of game was the 3-yard line. And in my head, I just told myself, I
Ooh.
don't have the line of game. That's all I told myself is. So we ended up enforcing this as a live ball foul and the dead ball foul because, right away we say the word continued participation with a helmet, we automatically assumed it's live. So we went live dead. And, you have all this that you're processing. And if you don't do that in your pre-snap, there's no way you're handling all this. And now let me identify where the line of gain is. So that was a major breakdown on my part that I wasn't involved. If you see my line judge, he's over there talking to the referee. They're figuring out the line of gain. The chains moved. They were up. They were down. They were up. They were down. So that was a whole nother
Wow.
lesson.
Okay, so this is good because this spot is absolutely reviewable, and we're not trying to officiate to replay whatever, but this is tough. This is tough. Obviously, we're trying to react to this player. We're trying to advocate for player safety here. It's going to be pretty easy in my mind to lose this spot. I want to do the best we can. We got a big line, but this is certainly reviewable. So from the standpoint of if this was 4th down, we would definitely want to create a turnover on downs here. If we didn't have a face mask for that helmet being pulled off, which I don't think we did.
No, we
So
didn't.
that's a really interesting aspect. Okay, cool.
Karina, I want to give you props for how strong you come in there and dead ball officiate, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you are in there like working your butt off. And like you said, you knew number 10 was the problem, and you were going to get him away from all of the Florida players. I love the way you worked this dead ball period.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, well, on that, so the question is, what did you say to number 10, and then what did he say back to you? That's a question from the chat, which I think is kind of cool. Do you remember?
So we were talking all game. As disrespectful as they are to each other, they're very respectful. The players are very respectful. So we were having conversations all game, and I go out. I tell him, just go. Let's figure out these fouls. And he tells me I didn't hit him that hard. So I'm like, oh, you definitely went after him. You went after him.
Well, I'm sitting here watching it thinking he kind of got hit more than he hit. Like 27 knocks him back. Get the weight room.
27 wasn't messing around.
So, and I don't know if he had a UNS. For all the UNSs, it was just, hey, everybody just try to stay in this game right now. Just separating them. They were, like I said, they were very respectful, but that kind of gave me a big hint. I didn't hit him that hard. So it kind of confirmed, oh, you sized him up and you had a free shot.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That is really good. I like that.
Hey, Karina, you just made a mention of UNS. You don't know if he had a UNS. This is something interesting to me. How does your crew handle UNSs versus from the standpoint of noting them, writing them? Is there a particular official that does it, or does each official responsible for their own UNSs? How does that work on your crew?
I mean, you're definitely responsible for your own, but everybody makes it a point to get, if there's a UNS, the steward opens up the 020 and we all get the information.
Okay. And then we all are writing it on our card. So there's not one person who's, okay. So that's interesting because I never thought about that. And I know I have a problem sometimes remembering to write down the UNSs. And I was just thinking maybe there's a better way for me to do it. Okay. So everybody is writing them down. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
All right. Thanks for sharing all that. That was really insightful. Because we can sit here and talk about plays that we weren't involved in. It's so much better to hear from somebody who's actually there, isn't it?
That's right.
Awesome. Okay, and I think these last two are your plays too. What I want to do is introduce the play. I'd really like to get Daniel's perspective. I think he's back with us on this action, and then maybe we'll kind of hear how you processed it. So got a little motion. And this is classic. We're just going to have 4 people right here at the goal line, and there's contact. All right. There's actually a couple different contacts. So DY, you look at this, and maybe you could talk back judge mechanically, especially considering this is the line judge side of the field. So that's important. But break down, if you don't mind, and introduce the concept of there's a chuck on the receiver, and then there's also contact delivered by the receiver that sets up as a potential pick. I don't know if that's a chuck. That's kind of a ride into him. So I would love to get your insight on how you're evaluating this contact, and then let's get to Karina because I believe she's the one that made the decision on this.
Yeah, and her insight will probably be a lot better than mine because my insight starts out with like, this is really stinking hard. Because think about it from a back judge perspective. So we talk about when we're in twins or trips at the goal line, I really advocate for officiating through the defense. That's very helpful to me. I'm not, maybe there's others who have tried that and it doesn't work. That's okay. But I think that's really effective for us. So in this case, if I'm the back judge, this isn't really a tight twin. So we're going to kind of watch number 80 come, I think it's 80, right? Go into the backfield and then come back out. And so we're going to pick him up. Let's say we're able to identify the defender and we recognize that we have a wide flank out here. And so we're going to work through the defender, maybe covering 80. Well, then we're going to see him get collisioned by the receiver. And it's very, very possible, or potentially get collisioned by that angle. It's very possible that we're not going to see the defender's action at all. We may not, like, just piecing all of that together in full speed when you're watching one guy and he comes in and gets hit is really, really challenging. The reason that we need to know that part of it is because we know that by philosophy, if we're going to rule that the defender has controlled the receiver, right? Either he's manhandling him or at the appropriate moment, he chucks him very hard. And the defender ultimately creates the contact between the receiver and the defender, then we're not going to have a foul for OPI. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So we need to know that whenever we're evaluating, and that's really, really tricky because what we don't want to do, Brandon, is say that, well, he had a hand on him and then they picked, or then he collisioned the defender, so there's no foul for OPI, because that's really not the intent of that principle or that philosophy. Really, the only reason we want to take him off of that is because the defender has really created that contact between the receiver and the other defender. That's just hard. That's hard when you're not watching that guy come into him.
Yeah.
And then this is super hard because 7 kind of delays and there's still a collision here. And you have to decide, did 7 even create contact? Did he even make contact with the defender? And if he did, was it by his own volition or was he forced into it? This is a really tough play.
Tough play. But now, okay, the onus is on the offense to avoid, right? And so you're saying that, contact by the defense can somewhat relieve the offense of that onus, but we also kind of want to see some type of thing that looks like a route, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think, but Brandon, if I may, you may want to be careful saying contact by the defender, because that's what I think the point Daniel was making. We can't just say he's contacted.
No, I'm with you.
We buy him out of it. It has to be some control and forcible contact to really disrupt the receiver's natural body movements, I guess would be a better way.
Gotcha. So you do want to see significant. It's almost like draw a parallel for my puny little world of blocked into for roughing.
Wait, you mean puny little brain or puny little world? I think he was
little world. No, my
I'll go with
good.
brain. Yeah, brain's good.
I'm drawing a parallel. There can be contact, and you can still have roughing the kicker. But like what you said, you want to see a reroute, right, or a redirect of the player into the kicker. So I think that's what you're saying here. You really want to see a redirect to take him off having that onus to avoid. Is that what I'm hearing?
You want to see the defender create something unnatural in the receiver's body movements.
Great hedge. Okay, great. So let's go. Can we stop all this nonsense and just go to the person who processes in real time?
Yes.
Karina, oh my goodness, this is hard. How did you process this in real time?
Hold on. By the way, look at the clock. It's a minute and 4
Yeah.
seconds left to go in the fourth quarter of a very, very contentious ball game. So your brain at this point, Karina, is mush, I'm sure. And then
And you didn't know you were about to have you didn't know you were about to have an onside whiff. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, play prior to this, like the play right before this play, I had a DPI. So just to so I just thrown a DPI. And so again, we really focused on this game, just reading and not reacting. So I actually think I did a good job staying with my key all the way through. This was actually a hard play that I had to adjust to, which, you know, I appreciate the disclaimer that you guys always say, do what your supervisor does, do what your supervisor does. So, you know, this was my first year. So I really had to get in the training tapes of, you know, what does the conference want? This is what the conference wants. And, you know, according to the conference, he's not running around. So I feel like I had a lot of help with the film study, just it being available and seeing it week in and week out. And then, the studying kind of paid off. I was just like, okay, wow, I may or may not agree with it, because then I knew Karina didn't like it, but I knew that that's what we need to call for the conference. So it was kind of like, I was kind of not amazed by myself, but you know, when you do something right and you don't expect to do it right. So I was shocked yes. As my flag came out. So I'm like, yes, that's it. You're not running a route. You turn, and part of my thinking prior to this year, I like getting bought out of the foul if the defender initiates the contact, right? Oh, well, the defender initiated contact, we don't have OPI. But he wasn't running a route at all. He definitely, it's a cheap touchdown. You're trying to pick the guy off. You're not even a good actor about it. I don't see how you cannot call this with what the conference wants us to call. And
nice.
I was just, at this point, I was just trying to breathe, because then I'm like, did I really just call a DPI? And then I just really called an OPI. I really hope I'm right. I hope I'm right.
Here's what we just heard, everybody. This is awesome. So Karina applied the standards as they were basically, you know, taught to her and really communicated to her. She loaded her mind from a preparation standpoint with all the materials that were available to her to really control. She could control from a preparation standpoint, and then was able to apply it. I mean, you know, Chuta, do you have any issue at all with it? Wasn't that just an outstanding recollection of how everything that led up to making this call?
Well, that is what I like as well. We've had conversations, Brandon, you know, you and I, we've heard conversations with plenty of other officials, and we ask about a play from a game. Not only do they not remember that they worked a particular a particular play, they don't even know if they worked the game. They don't know what happened in the game. They don't know, well, I don't remember this play that well, you know, and Karina knows exactly what happened on this play. Not only does she know what happened on this play, she knows what happened on the previous play to this that we're not even looking at. And she knew what led up to her decision making on this particular play. So for me, I just like the focus and the recollection that she has. Obviously, just remembering what we do on the football field is really important, because everything we do builds upon previous experiences that we have. So that, from that perspective, no, I love that.
Yep. She made a decision. The receiver wasn't running a route, seeking this guy out. I think she processed contact that was insignificant in terms of, you know, incidental really to him delivering this pick, and made the decision. And that's what officiating to me
exactly
is all about.
And that's really where I wanted to go. The body language, again, just like we saw on the last play. And I hate to be so much of a fan, Karina, but your body language is so strong. I mean, God,
so strong.
Yes, you threw the flag. You came in strong. Preliminary signal, pointing. There is nobody who has any doubt that what you did is what you meant to do. There is no hesitation. I just love it, to be perfectly honest. Your body language is really strong.
Because here's what we don't see. We don't see an official like looking at the back judge for a lifeline,
right,
or looking at the line judge for a lifeline. And we see that a lot. And maybe we've even done that. And
yes.
So
yes,
we don't want that here. You know, this is you. This is your call. I kind of like perhaps for your back judge to have the same recollection as you, honestly, and maybe even get part of this. But that's here nor there. That's not here nor there. So just awesome display of officiating right here. Okay. Did you think that was going to go a different way, by the way, Karina?
I don't know.
That's a joke. Okay, here we go. Play 7. Last play. Okay. Now, this might even be the next play. I don't know. How much time's left? It is the next play, isn't it?
Oh, yes, this one.
No, maybe not. Pretty close. Okay.
Oh.
Now you're on the pylon, aren't you?
Yeah, this was in the span of, what was it, like the last minute and a half. I was just
Oh.
like,
Yeah.
did all of this really just happen?
Jeez.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it. Pylon cam is outstanding. So we all know the process of the catch: control, or time element. And possession is only established when control and body part are met, unless the receiver's knocked back and maintains control and then doesn't regain his feet. Okay. So we all know that, I think. Man. So what did you have to decide here, considering all those elements? What did you have to decide to make whatever ruling you wanted to make here?
So I had the airborne receiver that was coming from the end zone. So the most important part is to see where he controls the ball. It's like you said, if he ends up being pushed back, it's definitely going to matter. I first just focused on when he got control. As soon as he got control, I started looking for contact, because at that point it's kind of like that's where our spot's going to be. And I had a poor view on if, when, or how he was contacted. So I didn't have a good view on that. I did, from my view, have him not control the ball until he was like at the half-yard line. But I knew for a fact on the field, I did not have a good look as far as where was he contacted, because my eyes were focused on, did he have control of the ball or not?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you ruled. What was your ruling, Karina? You ruled.
I put him at the
catch.
1.
You put him at the 1. Got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
with that ruling, so this was another breakdown on my end. So it's my first year. I'm just really just trying to do my part. And one of the things that I was not comfortable from the beginning, and I know we see it in the chat a lot, where we don't do replay, so it's non-existent in our heads. And for the longest time, it was non-existent in my head. We do study groups, we talk about replay, but if we're working without replay, we're working. It was non-existent. So I was very uncomfortable with the replay process. And one of the things that I didn't communicate here was, when the replay process started, our dentist wants us to, the calling official, to go over with the white hat to talk to replay.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do that. Didn't do that because I took myself out of it. And,
So
replays all the.
So right there, yeah. What would you have said? Let's say you did do that. What would you have hoped to say, following your coordinator's mechanics there?
Yeah, definitely. The ruling on the field is, we're we don't have a touchdown. We're at the 1. I get my hand up. I would like to go to the referee as he was going to the replay booth, or even just get on the O2O. My line judge had a great point. He's like, even if you're not going all the way down there, communicate it to all of us. Get on the O2O, because replay is listening to the O2O. Get in there and let us know your ruling. I would have loved to say I had control of the ball at the half-yard line with no contact. And whatever.
There we go.
I love that.
There we
with
go.
No contact. Yep.
Yes.
That's the key.
Thank you. Because really,
And I
what
didn't do that.
you're really developing a ruling on the field that's more precise with those words.
Yes.
Because that was going to be my next follow-up question: is did you rule forward progress at the 1, at the half? Did you just rule him down? Because I think you said right away you had him coming from the end zone to the field on his own.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, from my view.
Well,
This is a tough
yeah.
play. God.
I don't. How can you disagree? I mean, look, forward progress. The standard for contact that involves forward progress, it has to be significant contact. I mean, we can't just have a hand and say that that's
Right.
forward progress.
Right.
Right? So
right.
it would really need to be number 2 for Florida in the blue jersey causing this guy to go from the end zone to the field of play, in my opinion. It's just got to be obvious, and I don't have a problem. I don't know. What do you, Tutai, you've worked this play before, I guess. What?
I actually have never worked this play.
Talk to me about that.
I'm serious.
Oh,
I've
really?
never worked this play. I've not ever in my 10 years, illustrious years, I should say. Let me make sure I put that adjective on there. Illustrious years working the deep wing position. I have never had to make a ruling like this at the goal line, whether a receiver controlled the ball in the end zone. Was he pushed back out of the end zone? Did he go back out of the end zone on his own? I've never had to make this ruling. So I'm not quite sure what I would focus on. I love what Karina says. She got the control part first, and then she tried to find the contact. I think you have to do that. I think that's the right order.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can look at the contact.
That is the right
first.
order.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, first of all, if you're going to look at contact first, you're just like putting DPI in your mind. And
that's correct.
What you want to do. Okay,
right.
Let's study group develop a standard here.
Okay.
Because I think you're going to have doubt. I mean, I think there's going to be times on this play it's so fast.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I think it's obvious to me, anyways, that the contact by number 2 is not obvious enough for forward progress. I'm not saying it's not forward progress, but it's not clear and obvious to me that it is.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is,
if you have doubt, if the contact's enough, which way should we lean here? With the goal line involved, especially.
Then I would say that the receiver did it on his own. If I have doubt, I'm not going to just. You can't. To me, you can't award a touchdown just because you think it might be a touchdown. We can't do that. I
wholly agree. I don't know if everybody else does. DY, are you on that same page or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Great.
So when in doubt,
but I don't think everybody is.
Well, okay. So, for the three of us, and let's see if we can put Karina on the same bus. When in doubt, the defender did not
stop the receiver's progress or whatever. Create forward progress. Yeah. Okay.
Karina.
Okay. Good.
Hold on. We got to put Karina.
I'm sorry. My bad.
She might be staying on.
Are you on the bus?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. You have to earn that touchdown.
All right. Good.
Okay. So let's go with that ruling. So now you said you processed control at the half. That's okay. This happens really fast. Pylon cam clearly shows otherwise. Does that matter? Let me just say this now. Does it matter if we're saying no, the contact by number 2 is not significant enough to create forward progress? Does it matter if the receiver controlled the ball in the end zone or in the field of play? That's an open question for anybody.
That's an easy answer. Hopefully.
Go ahead.
No, it does not matter.
No, it does not matter.
There's no
because if he's on his
progress without contact.
Thank you. If he's on his own, and by the way, he hasn't gained possession yet because he's airborne.
That's correct.
So he must, if we're saying not forward progress, he must get his foot down on the ground and maintain control of the ball with it breaking the plane of the goal for it to be a touchdown.
That's correct.
Okay. So everybody's with me.
Yes. There is no hanging forward progress like we had the hanging catch situation. And we talked about last week with you hanging at the punch bowl and just never getting that dance. I felt so bad for you, Brandon. I'm going to be honest. But there is no hanging anything here because there was no contact. So anything the offensive player does is all on his own.
Good. So that means it's all process of the catch. It's all process of the catch. 100%. Control, body part. When those two things happen, that indicates and establishes the possession spot, so long as he completes the element of time.
That's correct.
To me, I feel like you totally nailed this play. I'm not sure if would you have liked to process the controls in the end zone? Sure. But, I feel like you lean towards it not being forward progress, which I can't disagree with that at all. And so since it's not, we got to let the process of the catch take over, which is control and body part and then element of time. Unbelievable.
And the only way we could have a touchdown if we determine that number 2 did not cause forward progress is if this receiver after completing the process of the catch, breaks the plane of the goal line in control of the ball. With control of the ball.
Yep.
This was a tremendous play.
Isn't it? We could what if this to death. Let's say we do have contact that we feel is significant for forward progress.
Oh,
Okay. So now if that contact was significant enough for forward progress, this is absolutely a touchdown.
well, hold on. Timeout. Are you saying
Unless
we
go
didn't
ahead,
rule
go
that on the field? Are we talking replay here? Or are we talking
no,
about
no,
ruling on the field?
I know. I'm what ifing.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm what
okay.
ifing.
Okay, so we're on the field still, though.
Are you going to replay? What are you doing?
No, I'm asking: are we what ifing on the field, or are we what ifing in replay?
I'm what ifing on the field. I feel like we
Okay.
just created a verb. What ifing? Okay, great. So
Okay.
so on the field, we do determine two had enough contact to create forward progress.
Yes.
You know, now obviously, then if we can establish control with the ball breaking the plane of the goal, this is a touchdown.
Correct.
But there's a big like unless, right? We can then layer on another what if, and what about the receiver landing, and then what do we have to determine next to award him all of his progress?
Well, he has to complete the process of the
Complete
catch, and
the
he
catch.
can't rebobble. He can't do any of that other stuff because then we're going to
All
start
that.
the process of the catch over again.
Perfect.
He
So
can
if the
never
time
lose
element,
firm control of the ball once he gains firm control.
well, within the time element. So
Correct.
if we've determined, right, if he does lose control of the football and has not satisfied element 3, forget about any of that.
That's correct.
I mean, that spot goes away and becomes instantly irrelevant.
That's correct.
What's the other way that actually, which is strange, this could become not a touchdown, even if we had enough contact and we did have control of the ball in the end zone? There's one other way that this could become not a touchdown.
Correct. And our line of scrimmage officials know this because they work it all the time. Regaining feet, that process of regaining the feet. If he decides to, and he never did here, I don't care that he kind of stopped himself and started moving forward, leaning forward. That's not regaining feet. He would have to totally separate himself and regain feet, meaning start moving in a different direction on his own in order for us to determine that he regained his feet. And then that spot would no longer be hanging. It would be gone.
Exactly. So there needs to be, for this whole regaining feet concept, there really needs to be an element of time where he kind of regathers himself and now has the ability to move forward under his own power. That does not clearly exist here. I mean, to me, that's pretty clear and obvious. So,
yes,
man, what a play! What a play!
What a game!
Yeah. Now, what a game is right. So, what's reviewable here, Tuta? I mean, we can what if several rulings on the field, which you just been talking. But what is all reviewable here?
Well, it depends on what the announcement is.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Give me one. Give me an announcement.
Here's the announcement. The ruling on the field is that the receiver gained possession of the ball with no contact from the defender at the half-yard line. I don't know what down it is. First down, Florida State at the half-yard line. I think for me,
so basically,
I'm going to use Karina's words. I don't know about you, Brandon. I think this is one where we got to make sure replay knows there is no contact that forced this dude out of bounds. We have to make sure
the ruling. Yeah, that's the ruling. Okay. So then the only thing that's reviewable, other than the process of the catch itself, right, which is not in question here, obviously. The only thing that's reviewable is if they do see significant, and it has to be so obvious that the contact is significant that pushes him back out of the end zone. Correct. Then replay could create a touchdown here because the goal line's involved for forward progress.
That's correct.
But I want to reiterate, you have to be 1,000% sure that 10,000% sure that the contact was so significant that it forced him. And it's not a hand. It's not the presence of a hand or a little push. No. It's got to be obvious. And certainly this isn't. Okay, what about this though? What if the ruling on the field is that contact is significant and the ball is controlled
at the half?
Let me do it this way. At the half, yes. Yeah. Contact is significant for forward progress. The ruling on the field is forward progress at the half-yard line.
So
What are we
now
gonna do
that,
now?
well, we're going to stop the game and we're going to review it because we can see that control was established clearly in the end zone. So I guess we also have to confirm that there was actually contact by the defender.
Well,
because let's say,
hang on. Nope, you're going. That's the wrong replay mindset.
no,
I'm shaming
no.
you. Yeah. I'm
Let me
scolding.
ask you this. So, Brandon, we're ruling that there was significant contact by the defense, and then
Yes.
we see there's absolutely no contact by the defense.
There it is. That's your replay standard that you have to go for now.
That's what I
'Cause if
just
there's-
said, and you
if the
stopped me.
No, you were going
That's-
the other way. If the ruling on the field is forward progress at the half-yard line and there's any contact at all, this is getting overturned to a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Because
That's
you
what I said.
can't no, you didn't. I'm proving the ruling wrong. You were trying to confirm a bunch of stuff, which is nonsense, and you know it better. That's why I'm scolding you.
You shouldn't be scolding me
but
because you just have poor understanding. You're
No, but think about how different that is. Think about how wholly different the mindset of a replay official has to be. Because we said on the first one, what did we say? You have to go find significant contact.
That's right. That's right.
With that ruling. On this one, we said you have to go find absence
Any
of
contact. That's right. Absence of contact. That's right.
Any contact means you can't any contact means you have to make this a touchdown.
That's correct.
So just a same play, but totally different approach from the term on behalf of the replay official, but based on what? The ruling
the
on the
announcement,
field.
the ruling on the field, and that's what's
Yes.
so critical here.
Yes.
Which is good that Karina now knows what she would have said, so that the referee can make an appropriate announcement. Because otherwise, the replay process, they don't even know what to review. What are we reviewing? Are we reviewing forward progress? Are we reviewing catching the ball on its own? Are we reviewing just possession? Are we reviewing control? What are we reviewing?
Correct. And that's everything is so important with what we say on the field because that's the basis. One more. If the ruling on the field is a catch and receiver down by rule, short of the goal line, what's reviewable now?
Catch and down by rule short
Yep.
of the
So
goal line.
nothing about forward progress is mentioned in the ruling on the field.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what can Mr. RO do now?
I don't think they can do anything but leave that alone because there's nothing.
It reverts back to the first scenario.
Oh, you're saying
If they see
clear and obvious contact?
Significant contact that pushes them back, they can actually put forward progress on since the goal line's involved.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
again, it's got to be so clear and obvious. Otherwise, we're just re-officiating the play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this is such a great play. I mean, it's such a good rules play from the standpoint that you can't create a touchdown with control of the ball, breaking the plane of the goal, unless there's significant contact pushing it back. So, what a play, Karina! Unbelievable.
It was awesome.
It was amazing. The whole experience. Something else.
Yeah, unbelievable. Pretty good in that video.
So that's why that last onside kick, all of this had just gone on, and I'm like, I'm not ruining this onside kick. I'm not ruining it. Whatever happens, you're not going to ruin this onside kick right now. That was like my little motivational talk.
And then the kicker does that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we really just want to thank you for your time tonight. This was amazing.
Yes, this was so cool.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. I appreciate it every week. I'm a fan.
All right, good. And Karina, especially, we definitely want to appreciate you because we know it's not easy to come on and discuss your plays because you never know, what are these guys going to do? Are they going to attack me for something I did? Or are they going to try to embarrass me? So I know it can be kind of unsettling, but we really appreciate you. Just your raw, brutal honesty. And I would hope that we all got a little bit better tonight. Considering some of the things that we looked at.
Yeah, totally. DUI, what you got?
No, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Karina, appreciate your perspective. And I really appreciate what Tuta said. It's not comfortable. Look, we've had guys on here do it before. It's not always comfortable evaluating yourself. And so but also I think what you did for us and what we try to do consistently is model what that looks like, because that's where the growth is, right? Karina, you're going into year 2. If you haven't spent time going through these plays like this, you're missing opportunities to get better. So that's what we're consistently this time of the year trying to model, is what self-evaluation looks like and how we can apply that for future improvement. And I think you did a great job of that for us tonight. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. I had a blast.
All right. Well, good, because we're going to bring you back. We're going to next week. No, no, that was awesome.
I got a fun play for you guys. It's a kicking play.
Okay.
It's a fun one. I'll send it over.
Can't wait.
All
Please
right.
Please do.
We'll play one next week. All right. Well, that's a wrap, everybody. Thanks, Karina, Tuta, Daniel. Appreciate you as always.
Yep.
Awesome, guys.
Have a great night.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Good night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.